Winter byth caldost, Lengton chrymiost, hay byth longest cold, Summer sunbolitiost, swale byth hottest, Harvest rhededios, Hartham bringeth yeres westmas.
Of them pitta on ash willenbrock, on long brockes on Averna, on long Averna on Brockhardes ford, of them forda on Swinburne. This is part of the Saxon charter of Hawkesbury in Gloucestershire, and Hawkesbury is Hawkesbury, which means hawks. Well, it actually means, on the face of it, hawks fortification, but I think it's hawk's barrow. Berch and Burier get confused even in the Dark Ages. There is a long barrow here, right next to the church.
This is Hawkesbury Common, and what a fine common it is too. They are enigmatic places, and they're quite few and far between in the English countryside. After the enclosures, a lot of it got broken up and improved for arable. But occasionally we've got a smattering around this area. There's another one, Ingliston and Astley or Asprey. Little Sodbury down the road, and so it seems to be a taste for holding land in common in this area, which is goes against the grain of Britain, which has been Britain is very much a place of people who treasure their independence, would sell up for the chance to have something of their own. And but here the land is this particular bit of, I'd call it scrub. It's not scrub. It's not heath. It's very wet. There's reeds everywhere, reeds and grass, and it's grazing land. I've only seen horses so far, so it's not particularly good land. So it could. That could explain why it survived enclosure. But this land is held by the people who live on it. So I've made an appointment with the council to go and have a look at the Commons agreement. So I don't know the exact facts, but there's normally one landlord, a local bigwig who owns the land, but with copy holders who have rights to commoners who live in cottages around the edge of a common and have the right to share it with each other for their use, to be used. But they are economic units that keep people fed, and I don't think for a second much income is going to be created from something like this. But it could do. You could have sheep, geese, cattle, horses. Though nobody in this country is going to eat a horse. But we've got. But we're looking at. We're looking into the past. This is. a lot of grazing land would have been held in common in the medieval period. You're not allowed to fence it off, fence parts of it off for your own use. You just put your animals out, a certain amount of animals, there's a set of rules, and if you break the rules you get fined. Now behind me is Stanley Wood over there, and that's interesting. Well, it's got a Roman villa in it for starters, and it has an Anglo-Saxon boundary that goes through the middle of it. And even more interestingly, we have an old British, that is Welsh name for a river that has managed to survive into the English period.
This is the Little Avon River, and it's marked on the OS map as such. And I didn't believe it was a real Avon. I thought it was the Antiquarians messing about. But it is marked quite clearly on the Saxon Charter of Hawkesbury. It took me quite a long while to find the Hawkesbury Charter because it's under a different name, Soothstocker. But it has been identified as being in this area, and 4 or 5 of the boundary landmarks I can place quite clearly in this parish. It is the Welsh word Avon, and it is Averna is what it sounded like to English ears when they first got here, and so they adopted it into their own language. It is Welsh for river. Well, this is interesting. My battery on the old my battery on my main camera hadn't recharged properly. It was on all night, a little green light blinking away, and then I find out I've got 30%, and then I switched to my backup, which is the GoPro, and there's an error on that, and so that's broken down. So I'm reduced to using my my phone. It's always important to have a backup. This is a Sony Xperia something or other, and it's meant to be a photographer's phone. And we'll see how good it is in this. I don't see why it shouldn't be. It's a Sony. They go for the stabilisation might be a bit dodgy, but Sony's go for their technology. So I just thought I'd mention this. And this is Ramson's Chramnes or Rames in Old English, and it is lovely smell of garlic. So we have the return of the old Ramson, the old bear garlic, you might know it as, garlic of the woods. So that's really exciting as well. So yes, we're definitely heading into spring. But the thing is, we don't normally get spring this early, but we've had 5 days of fine weather. And you have to ask yourself if it's got feathers and webbed feet and quacks, it's a duck. So we've had fine weather, greenery erupting from the ground. The birds are singing. Does that count as spring? I think it probably does. Common sense should apply. Saying that though, we'll probably have sleet tomorrow. The river runs into the woods now, leaving the fields, and so we're going from the sunlight into the well, no, there's no leaves on the trees yet, so we're not going into the darkness. I'm not sure how I'm going to close that gate. So I've got to climb over this and then pull the gate shut. God knows how I'm going to do it. Oh, that's quite easy. Look at this beautiful wood bank.
A hedge on a wood bank. It would be churlish not to. Oh yeah, rose. Looks like, yeah, that's hazel. Ooh. So I'm making it 7, including this massive oak tree up here, and this is on the wood bank. So it's oh, I'm pleased with that. That was unexpected. Now there's no mention of any hedge on the Saxon charter here. I'm literally, I'm taking advantage of a situation which this is why you go out in the field to go and have a look at stuff. Now this is part of Stoneleigh Wood, Starn Lech, and it's named, I think it's named after the clearing in the centre that has a Roman villa in it. So you get a lot of field names that get called Starn or Chessels or castles, things like that, where there's been a Roman villa. So I think this whole area is named after could be the clearing. Lech is Lee today, and in our poetry we call of Lee, when we say over the Lee, we mean over rough pasture. But in the Anglo-Saxon period, it was either rough pasture or woodland. So this could be, might be. I think it's reasonable supposition to say this is the wood of the Roman villa, or the stones left by it. But yeah, seven species is 770 plus 30. That's 800 years old. So that's so that'd be 1220, 1225. It's obviously not as accurate as that, but it's a rule of thumb. But yes, Old English would be coming to an end around about 1225, and Middle English would be taking over. So all the seth honours and thars and all that sort of stuff would disappear from English, and it would be the instead. Well, I've got my GoPro back up and running again. Yeah, so that's good. It is a much more convenient method. I was asking Tweedy the other day, actually, when we were talking about using your phone, would it be inconvenient to use your phone to do videos? And having just tried it, I found it quite inconvenient. You can't easily rest it on the ground in a tree, and it's all sort of slippery, and you know, it's much handier to have a box in your hand while you do stuff. Right, we're going through Stanley Wood. Can you see that river? We're back to the river. It is very, very delightful river. It's a nice day. The sun's shining. The birds are tweeting. There's a burbling brook, and I'm in a great big wood, and it is such a nice way to spend your time. And get yourself some Scottish hunting boots. Oh, found a bench. Thank you, Wildlife Trust. I love Wildlife Trust. No, I hate them. It's a bit like people claiming benefits and then hating the state. I'm not at all thankful for what I've got. No, I am. But I was dismayed to see, even though this is a common, that there was barbed wire in it. On the edge of it. I'll be fair to them. They can delimit on the outside. What they shouldn't be doing with a common is breaking it up into little pieces. But which I don't think they have. Right, it's Lent coming up. Lent tomorrow, I think, is the start of Lent. Now you may think that quite rightly, you may think that Christianity is either boring or oppressive, but it might be the customs of your people, of your tribe. And it is Shrove Tuesday today. Are you shriven is a question that I'd like to ask you. Well, have you? It's later than you think. To shrive is to have your soul cleansed, shriven, in preparation for Lent, which is in preparation for Easter. And I won't bore you too much about it, but I will say that these festivities, these festivals, are to mark parts of the year. So they're part of the way in the Middle Ages they thought about the turning of the year. That along with being shrived is the appearance of new life in the woods and that sort of thing. So I'm not saying that they ideologically or philosophically linked them, but the people who lived in these communities would have understood that Easter is on its way. But the Easter moves with the moon. It is calculated according to the moon, so it's really quite late this year. And so don't wait until Easter this year to plant your potatoes. I'd plant them a couple of weeks before if I were you. But the choosing of the time of Easter is a ritual thing rather than a practical thing. That bridge wasn't wooden, it was made of plastic, and it's such a shame. Though I would expect it to last longer, but then if we care about something we'll maintain it. It's just, we're in a wood, cut some wood, make a bridge. But I'm so conservative, I'm so sorry, it's just the way I feel. But I'm looking for we've now left the common and we're on on a public footpath on private land, so barbed wire's back again, and another piece of modernity. I'm not against efficiency, I'm not against the modern world, it's just lazy. I don't like, well, very judgmental on my part, but anyway, if you've got 1,000 acres to delimit, to put a boundary around, I can sympathise that you might want to do it the most easiest way, which is barbed wire. But I'm looking for indicators that this landscape is ancient woodland, and the boffins think that ancient woodland is older than 1600, which isn't ancient to me, but it's a convenient way of looking at things. So I'm looking for Dog's Mercury, and I think I might be early in the year for that. Bluebell's definitely early. I know nothing about Dog's Mercury. In fact, I know very little about all of this. I'm learning. You're watching me learn, and I hope you'll learn with me. This sort of this ecology game. I haven't got the slightest real interest in conservation, but ecology interests me. Having a sustainable landscape made up of things doing the best they can in their own self-interest, and thus creating a better whole. I'm interested in that. I wonder whether or not the bear garlic is ancient woodland indicator. I'll have to look it out when I get back. But yeah, I understand bluebells just won't jump if you plant a new forest near to an old wood, the bluebells won't jump into it. So that's how you know that that woodland is ancient. It's because, you know, if it was new, it wouldn't have bluebells. Now, I quite like this. There's a practical purpose, which is to stop us falling into the gully. So it's actually quite good looking as well. I like it a lot. The it's made of well, it looks like hazel. It's somebody who's taken a practical principle and taken it to a good conclusion, a rational, and I can't get my words out today for some reason. Taken a principle, taken a rational approach that is made us stable, and no, I'm going to give up on this sentence. Yeah. It's good that their nimble little children's hands have made such a good job. It's good to see. Hope they get a commendation or a gold star or something.